September's tip is about how to write with a group, or maybe just a partner. If you're trying to produce excellent output with multiple people working on it, you're doing what most professionals do. Professional writers need professional editors. And when you're working in a team to produce good writing at work, you have natural writers and editors and project managers. What you want to do is figure out everyone's skill set, what they are interested in working on, when certain tasks need to be done. Writing is a process. You're going to have to do some research probably first, make an outline, figure out who's writing what components, figure out who's editing which things when is proofreading happening, because proofreading, reviewing it for grammar alone, has to be done as a separate step. Once you have a sense of who's going to do what, you can set up a Google Doc, for example, where you can put your outline and sort of mark out what pieces are going to be written and assign them to particular people as their responsibility. You can actually select fonts, right? So we can track who's creating which parts of these documents and connect their color to them. You want to set a deadline for when research has to be done, when an outline has to be done, when a draft has to be done. Most of us are deadline oriented, and without the deadline, we're not going to know when we should prepare to get that work done in our schedule. Once the first draft is complete, a very important part of this process is that everyone should edit other people's sections. So however many people you have working on this document, each one of those people is going to be adding input and feedback on the other people's writing. You can, of course, change your own. Somebody has a typo, if they're missing a comma, go ahead and put that in for them. If you have an idea about how to change something, you can add that as a comment. So we want to decide as a group what things are acceptable for us to change in each other's writing and which things we want to give feedback or suggestions about and then have a conversation about it, or let the original writer make some changes and improvements. You want to have a conversation about that so that you're not forcing your ideas on the other people in your team, but are taking advantage of things that you can correct or fix in the moment when you see them. Once everyone has taken a turn reviewing, editing, providing feedback on everyone else's writing, then you're going to have another part where you go into the document and you start revising and editing it. As you are revising the complete coherent document, each person should take a turn reviewing the entirety of the document, but because you have multiple people, you don't want everyone to start at the top and read to the end. Our brains and attention are going to be more activated at the beginning than they are at the end of the document. So as we have different people, we want them to start in different places. So one of us might do the final review top to bottom, but other people might start with their section and read to the end and then go to the beginning, right? Or start somewhere else in the middle, read to the end, go to the beginning. Someone needs to be starting at the end and reading backwards through the entire document. So we want to make sure that people are starting in different places so that we can create a final product that is cohesive in terms of its ideas, in terms of its argument, and in terms of the language that it's using and the tone, the way we feel about the writing and its outcome. The final step in any process where you're working with one person or a team is going to be proofreading. Once the content is set, you're going to want to go through the document a couple of times to review the grammar of it. You're reviewing it for clarity, you're reviewing for conciseness, you want to eliminate as many words as possible, you want to make sure that the ideas are clear. Those are things that you're doing in the big process. And then at the very end, you're going to check the grammar. The grammar check, obviously you can use tools to support that process. So your team will have looked at that document many times, and getting some feedback from a source like Grammarly is going to help give you advice on what changes you can make in the grammar of your document. But you also want to have proofreaders on your team who are going through only looking at the grammar of the final product. Once you finish that, check your formatting, make sure that the pages are in order. If there's a table of contents, it's right. Check headings to make sure that those are spelled correctly and in the right places. And those final visual elements are probably going to be the last bits. How is it going to be arranged or formatted when you deliver it to your audience? Once you've done those things, make sure that everyone gets credit for the work that they've done on your team.